Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from Strata Data in New York City. I'm here with Nik from Cloudera. Nik, how you doing?
Good. I'm really happy to be here. It's an exciting event.
So how's the show been for you so far?
Oh, it's been wonderful. We've had 2 product launches. We've had some great keynotes, lots of good customer information sessions. It's been really fun.
So, there's a trend that I've seen, and I think a lot of people have seen lately, about people moving to public clouds.
Right.
Why?
Well, cloud has a lot of things that fit nicely with a big data environment. One is scale. Obviously, you want to continue to grow and capture more data and then be able to leverage that data. Another piece of it is elasticity, which is the ability to spin up resources, use them for an analytics job, and then eliminate them when you're done, so you're not paying for them. So there's some parts of cloud that are good for their scale and persistence around the storage. There's some parts of cloud that are good for their transients, like bringing a different application or analytics workload as you go.
Is there a difference between the public and private, though? Why do people like the public?
So, provisioning equipment on premises is always a challenge. You need to find the equipment, select it, source it, ship it, install it, integrate it. There's a lot of pre-work steps that, if you're really interested in doing the analytics, getting insights, getting answers, going through some of that pain feels like delay and hurts productivity. So cloud, in many ways, is very facile, makes it easier to be agile as a business. I think that on-premises for long-running workloads makes sense, and cloud makes sense for other types of environments.
So you guys work with a lot of organizations and some very large enterprises. Do you see gotchas and like pitfalls that some of these companies are going through when they're trying to get to a cloud solution?
Definitely. There's some things we've learned working with our customers along the way, things we've observed, and people come to us and say are pains. I would say the number one issue we're seeing is people accidentally replicating the silos they've had on premise. So having one environment for a database workload, another one for a data warehouse, another one for machine learning. And so you end up accidentally taking what seems like a nice unified resource and fragmenting it up. And the biggest challenge to that then is, of course, there's a lot of rework. We need to then recreate security policies, governance policies. We need to manage each set of data independently, and we end up with a lot of redundancy in work and a redundancy in resource utilization and cost. So trying to get cloud to be that concept of a unified data source and then bring your workloads as you need is where people really need to end up.
And that may not be repeatable for all enterprises, right? So everyone's different. One size doesn't fit all. So how do you see that working for a lot of the enterprises that want to move to a public cloud? Do they have special requirements that make it more difficult for them?
Yeah, certainly by industry it varies quite a bit. There are different regulations or best practices or industry standards they need to adhere to. But what we spend a lot of our time doing is coaching customers on what workloads make sense, where they're going to be restricted, where maybe keeping it on premises does make the right decision for their environment. It's going to be long running. Cloud costs can add up as you scale over time, but finding which ones are transient, which ones are going to be dynamic, where they're going to get more agility out of cloud. I think that's really where you want to do a critical self-assessment of your environments and find the right choice.
And do you help your enterprise partners decide which applications go into a public cloud? Because that's also it could be difficult.
So we've looked at what workloads are most suitable. One of the things we announced this week was our Altus, which is a data engineering platform as a service running in a Microsoft Azure cloud now. When it's the upcoming beta we have, it's joining AWS, so that actually makes a multi-cloud experience for something like data engineering. Data engineering, of course, is a transient type of thing you need to do as preparation to get into machine learning, get into analytics, but it's a necessary first step. So using cloud for that type of environment is one example of ways we're making it easier for people. They focus on the task, not the infrastructure. The other thing we really wanted to set up for them is if you do have transient compute environments, not losing the data context, not losing the information about security or governance or keeping audit or logs and lineage information. All of that needs to be preserved. And so detaching that from your compute cluster, your analytics application, and putting it with the data that is persistent in the storage layer, that's something else we're doing with what we call our shared data experience. And it's another way we're helping people move in this direction.
So just like I asked you a couple minutes ago about gotchas and pitfalls that customers go through, do you have some success criteria that you can identify that your enterprise partners that have gone through this journey to get to a public cloud, some of the criteria that made them successful to get there?
I think it's really important to look at your skills as a team, look at your business processes as a function. Neither of these are strictly technology yet, mind you. And then doing a assessment of the needs of the application. And more often, we recommend you bring your applications to the workload rather than bring the data vice versa. There's physics problems and cost problems and all kinds of other complications. But what we're seeing is for the highest value big data applications, they tend to be multidisciplinary in nature. We're combining some elements of BI and data warehouse with machine learning and predictive analytics, with maybe IoT sensor information, and that needs to stream in and be updated as it goes. So being able to combine those types of, again, multimodal analytics, if you will, together is really where we see people have the most success, and then they get the highest value use cases out of those. They're able to predict things that any single one analytics approach wouldn't otherwise tell them.
And are you able to stitch that together quickly? I mean, is that like almost real time or streaming?
So that's been a big part of our effort in related to some of our announcements this week is being able to help people be more agile, help them be able to run multidisciplinary applications, as I said, not have to recreate the data context even as they're using it with different users, different groups, different applications, tying it all together and really helping them focus on answering the big questions.
So what is it about large enterprises? What do you see that they have the big aha moment, like that they need to do something different? What is that for them?
I think with a lot of business, it comes down to cost and profit. You know, what's going to get them new environments, new use cases, what's going to help them find a competitive edge, find a new product, understand their customer better. So these sound like motherhood and apple pie, but they're very much the key to big business is finding the way to do that profitably. So cloud is a driver for that. For some environments, like I said, temporary workloads, et cetera, can be way more cost effective if you can synthesize it, not rebuild the silos, et cetera. So looking at the economics, I think, is at the end of the day where everybody needs to go. I mean, big data and Hadoop, made things a lot less expensive than traditional data warehousing environments, but now it's also increasing the scale of things, increasing the complexity because you're trying to solve more complex problems together. So I think that's kind of their aha moment is not only what could we do, but what could we do it and how could we do it most cost effectively.
So Nik, if you and I sit down 12 months from now, what would you like to see change for your role with Cloudera and how you guys interface with the market?
I think we have three main goals as we look at approaching this part of the market. We want to make it easy for customers. The easier it is to get on board, to get to answers, to get to solutions, obviously then there'll be more customer adoption. And then we'll be solving important problems for their business, making the world a better place. We want to see it be really unified. We'd like to have one source of data and then bring your applications to that, make that really easy. Don't break into silos and make it, again, common and standard. And then we want to make it enterprise grade. We want to make sure we're preserving the security information, the governance information, all the management capabilities that you might have traditionally on-premise, make sure that exists in a cloud world as well, and that people access their data safely and appropriately as they go.
Excellent, Nik. We look forward to that journey with you.
Thank you very much.